This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. So every time I use Booking.com to find a place in the U.S., I know they will have exactly what I'm looking for. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I'm always able to find something that fits my specific needs. I found that Booking.com has something for everyone. No matter who you are, Booking.com helps you find the stay that's ridiculously right for you. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com, Booking.yeah.
Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Thank you so much for being here and being a Juicy Scooper. I've got a packed show for you. It's just me because there's so many topics. So let's get into it. Okay, you guys. My worst nightmare has ended. I can't think of anything that I would want less to happen to me than to be trapped in outer space, which I thought was going to be a 5-day trip. And it turned out to be like 300 days or something like that. As you know, our two astronauts, Sonny and the guy, I don't remember his name, God love him, they are home. They are home. They were not a couple. They were both married to other people. They always seemed happy when we got to see them on FaceTime. And I know I don't really understand why they couldn't come home after 5 days and why they can come home now. But they got to come home, just like Sandra Bullock did in that other movie where they come down on this little like pod with like some parachutes and then lands in the ocean, and then the ship comes and gets them. This is the first time their bodies had to like adjust to gravity, and they're being checked out by medical professionals. And once they're deemed okay, they can like go home to their family. So here's some questions I have, and I really hope they get answered. This woman, it seems to be in her late 40s, and it doesn't look like her hair went gray. And that's what would happen to me if I was left out in space or in prison or whatever without dye products. And I would bring them if I could, if I knew I was going to be in space or whatever for a year, because every, 4 to 6 weeks, I need to dye my roots. And I go to Madison Reed, okay? So did she bring her Madison Reed products with her, or she really just has no gray hair? Also, he always had like a fresh haircut. So did he bring like clippers or whatever? Again, if you thought it was only going to be 5 days. But then, of course, they didn't run out of food. So maybe they say, hey, it's going to be 5 days, but you guys are set with everything you need. How did they like change their underwear? How did they clean their underwear? Was there a laundry? Like, I have so many questions. Did they ever have a freak out? Are they being paid huge amounts of money to say it was completely pleasant and they were never freaking out? I don't know. I if they don't talk, can someone just create a movie? I need to see it, and I need to know the truth. I need to know these questions and what they did every day and how they sleep. And I've never really been interested in being an astronaut or what their life is like until this story. And now I need to know how the F they dealt with it. And like, what are the spouses saying? And did the spouses miss them at all? And do they need like to go into like a psychological thing? Or was it just totally pleasant? Like they were just in like a cute, condo and floating around, and they lost a few pounds and got to deep condition their hair and color it when they wanted and weren't concerned at all. I don't know. Do they get to go on a big fancy vacation? Do they get to visit the White House? What happens? I need to know. But anyway, they're finally home. Actually, I thought of another worst case place I want to be stuck, and that is going on a hike up to Mount Everest and trying to reach Mount Everest. Honestly, I think that would be worse than just be floating around in outer space for the rest of my life because I just don't like being cold and I don't like hiking that long. Okay. I know you guys, some of you, not a lot of you, are like, Heather, we are sick of hearing about the Blake and Justin and Ryan Reynolds saga. But there actually is an update because I was like, I'm not talking about it today. If there's no update, well, there is. And Ryan Reynolds has asked the judge to dismiss him from Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. Basically, what Ryan is saying is he's saying that he literally is saying this in like the court papers or his people. Justin is just thin-skinned, and that him making fun of him in Deadpool is, allowed and it's not defamatory. And the fact that he called him a predator, it was never said like in a more public form. And besides, it's his opinion, and also it's somewhat laid in truth because Justin himself said there were times before I became this male feminist that I sometimes wouldn't really understand consent when it came to getting with a woman. All that stuff. So he's asking he's like, I was just a supportive husband. I was just being supportive of my wife, Blake Lively. I do not need to be put into this. Like, fine, go after my wife, but leave me out of it, which is kind of crazy. And some of the legal docs, which were obtained by TMZ, he said, Ryan says Justin is showing his true colors in filing the suit against him, claiming that Baldoni took his thin-skinned outrage over a movie character and decided to go after Ryan in court, a reference to the Nice Pool character. And also, so I find that whole thing really interesting that right now he's saying, okay, get me out of it. Maybe because he's like, let it be Blake's thing. At least I don't need to be part of it. But he's like, I was just being a supportive husband, which I think is really interesting. Are they starting to freak out a little bit? Many ask, where is the text evidence of or any kind of information that would maybe have Blake sharing with Ryan? I'm really creeped out by Justin. He's coming into my trailer. Today was the worst. I can't wait for this movie to be over. He's creeping me out. Is there anything like that? I don't know. That would help. Doesn't mean that you keep these. Many people would keep this from their hot-headed husband too. However, he was around the set a lot. We know all that. Okay, moving on. Now, Justin Baldoni's lawyer says, well, too freaking bad. Like, there's no reason why he should be dropped. He started this fire. It's like he lit a match and then ran away. He set out to destroy Justin's career. It's like basically both sides. She started it like by saying, you ran a smear campaign to ruin my career. And then this is all coming forward with him defending himself, saying, no, actually, you started a campaign to ruin my career and have me never work again and have me lose my agent and everything else. So no, you can't do all that and then be excluded. So we don't know if the judge will dismiss Ryan Reynolds from this as of this recording. So that's the little update on that. Oh my God. Let me just tell you what's going on with Kim and Kanye. I have said over and over again, I don't think there is a worse person at this point as a celebrity to co-parent with than Kanye West. And Kim is just doing her best. And there's a lot of weird things that happen between the two of them. And Kanye is tweeting this, all this stuff. He still appears to be separated from Bianca. He was seen with another girl/employee that looks just like Bianca and Kim. She was covered. She was just wearing like black leggings and a turtleneck. She had the slick back, dark, low pony, parted down the middle hairdo that, is very in right now. And she was wearing that. So we don't know if she's the new girlfriend or what. And Kanye, put out a song, I think on X or something. And I listened to it. and it has Northwest, their 11-year-old daughter, rapping on it. And also, it involves P. Diddy with this conversation that he taped. Kanye has a conversation that he taped, and I think incorporated in this song that also featured Northwest. And it was basically P. Diddy calling Kanye from prison, and Kanye taped it. And he's like, oh my gosh, Kanye, you're the best. Thank you for supporting my children, P. Diddy's children. Thank you for being like the only person that's supporting me and calling me. And Kanye's like, well, you're the best. I mean, you're the reason I'm here. You like helped raise me. And, and then P. Diddy's like, just cut those songs and do your rhymes and just get out there. And he's being like a life coach. P. Diddy is to Kanye. And that has been taped. And then there's also another female voice. And then there's like Northwest just talking about whatever, some sunshine or something. So Kim goes to say to the court, no, I do not want my 11-year-old daughter being part of the song with a guy who is facing tons of accounts of, sexual assault and is in bars, and I don't want her doing this. And Kanye's pissed because he's like, she's my daughter. And Kim went and trademarked her daughter's names. And so then somehow one of them released the text exchange between Kim and Kanye in which Kanye's like, she's my daughter. How dare you trademark her name? And Kim is like, we discussed this. I was going to trademark all the kids' names so that somebody else doesn't. And when they become 18, it will go back to them. But in the meantime, people couldn't exploit them and everything. I have it. And they have, I guess, originally had a pretty good situation with their divorce, but if there was ever something they couldn't settle, they would go to court or bring in the lawyers. And so she's like holding it down. She's like, no, I'm not going to be okay with this. There's talk that is she going to go for full custody? People surrounding them says that he barely sees the kids physically at all. So she should have full custody, but she doesn't want to sever the relationship with her kids with him. This Nazi t-shirt wearing guy walking around with their stepmother naked, who's now left him too. I mean, I don't know. The girl did go to law school, or it was trying to go to law school. I don't think she is going to pursue that anymore, but she has great lawyers. She, is obviously doing the best that she can in a public situation. He keeps going out on X or whatnot and just saying like these white women took my children, and it's just a nightmare. And I just feel really, really bad for the kids because obviously Northwest likes to perform. She likes to sing, and this is her dad. And it's just such an awful position for Kim to be in because of the horrible things that he promotes and does. It's just disgusting. And obviously she doesn't really want her daughter like associated with someone who's so hateful right now, whether he's mental or not. And this is why you really have to think about who you're having a kid with. When you think back at the history of them, I mean, he did definitely like elevate their brand and they all were excited and they all wore his ripped up clothes, including Caitlyn at the fashion show, and they all went to the wedding, and it was all Kanye, and what does Kanye want us to wear? And the kids can only wear black, cream, and gray, or until Kanye says different. And there was just all that, and I was always just like, what is going on? And of course, then she got away from it, and I think they all knew that he was kind of crazy, and they were just like, well, what do we do now? But yeah, she shares a lot, obviously, on her Hulu show. She recently shared that she paid for 4/5 of her ring from Chris Humphries, but as part of the 73-day divorce that she gave it back to him, even though she paid for it. That was on an episode recently of their Hulu show. And I do kind of wonder, where is Chris Humphries? Like that whole thing was So bizarre. But so it's a big nightmare. And but he and P. Diddy, best friends forever, Kanye and him. Meanwhile, Diddy prosecutors have handed over the alleged victims' names to the defense attorneys so that they can, I guess, do their due diligence, or they now know. It's not public to us, and I think it's 3 of the alleged victims. Now, just today, Tony Busby, that had so many, I think almost like 20 different cases that he was representing of all these people that came with their stories of being assaulted by Diddy since he's been behind bars. He is now temporarily removing himself or asking to be removed because he doesn't have a law license to practice in New York. And it's just occurring to him now. I don't know. I think this looks very weird. I'm like, so just now you're thinking like maybe this isn't good or agreeing to it. It's not like he's saying I don't believe in these victims, but he's getting out of it because of this. But we always knew he was from Texas. So I find that whole thing strange. It's making me a little bit nervous about this upcoming trial with Diddy. I love Honey Love. Some of the things I love about it, besides making me look better in everything I put on when I've got Honey Love under it, is that Honey Love is an independent female-founded brand. All Honey Love products are intelligently designed by women who actually wear them, including founder Betsy, who is highly involved in the development of each product. Honey Love recently launched the Cross Flex bra. I actually am wearing it right now. It is designed to support you all day in and out of your workout routine. Wear it during your work day and your workout, and I'm telling you, it is so comfortable and looks so good. You'll forget you're even wearing it. Of course, you know I love their shapewear, their G-string that there's literally like this just sucks you in the middle. Nobody knows I'm wearing it, and it's so comfortable. I absolutely love it. So treat yourself to the best bras and shapewear on the market. Save 20% off Honey Love at honeylove.com/juicy. Use our exclusive link to get 20% off honeylove.com/juicy to find your perfect fit. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support Juicy Scoop and tell them I sent you. Elevate your comfort, elevate your style with Honey Love. Guys, you know I am loving Lumi. It is the all-over body deodorant that you didn't know you needed, but you definitely did, especially with spring and summer on the horizon. I mean, this gets in those places that you sweat, that you don't want to. Not just the armpits. I'm talking under boob, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, vulvas, and feet. It is the #1 whole body deodorant formula, and it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor up to 72 hours. I absolutely love their spray deodorant. It's aluminum free and ideal for hard to reach places. Like I said, like under the boobs, down there. Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our Juicy Scoop listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. Use code JUICY for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's code JUICY at LumiDeodorant.com. Please support Juicy Scoop and tell them I sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lumi. Let's talk about something light and fun and weird, and that is Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which was on last night. They are in St. Lucia. Bo's the new girl, put the trip together. We saw her pack in between her big, beautiful, glamour framed photos throughout her house and her bedroom. And she just wanted to have a girls' trip, and she's, everyone's best girlfriend. And on the trip, she says, I'm a really good girlfriend. And because now that Kyle and I are friends, I reached out to Kyle when the photos of him hugging this girl in the airport came out that paparazzi caught. And then just 2 days later, Bo says, I was at Soho House, and sitting across from me was Mauricio and this girl. And I immediately, she goes, I left a voicemail or voice note, and here it is. And she plays it in her confessional to Kyle, giving her all the deets about the girl not being that cute and not that great, and what they did and what they ordered and if they were smooching or whatnot. Since this was filmed, he has been seen with a lot of other girls. Last year, it would have been, around this time last year, I was in Aspen and I saw him like walking with a girl. And that was while Kyle was with Morgan and they were separated still. So, Garcelle brings it up as they're talking about what a great friend Bose is for giving her the juicy details of running into the husband with his girlfriend. And Garcelle is like, okay, like, I get it. This is painful and this is hard. And, congrats to Bose for like giving you the deets. But are we just like never going to talk about Morgan? We just are not going to mention Morgan. And Kyle kind of like rolls her eyes. And I love that Garcelle keeps pressing this, and it's like, it's true. But then Erica pops in and is like, well, it's not like Garcelle shares anything about her personal life. Is she dating anyone? Because she used to have quite the roster back in the day when she was dating like Jamie Foxx and all these people. But I don't think she's hiding anything. I think dating is hard in your 50s, and I don't think Garcelle has a boyfriend. But I think she's trying to say, why are we all getting on Mauricio for being out with these girls when you guys live separately? And you were the one, according to what we saw on TV, it was Kyle who wanted the separation. She got sober, she was working out, and she was just not feeling it anymore. And right when the separation happened is when she just became really close to Morgan Wade, who was married to a man at one time. Like I said, I don't know that she's ever been waving a flag or been like, I am a lesbian in my song. So I don't even know. I don't even know if this was an entire PR thing between the two of them or what. I have talked ad nauseum about it. Did they, have some fun in a moment and now they're just platonic friends? Were they never anything more? And this was, Kyle learned from the best, her niece Paris, of like how to stay in the news. And even Garcelle said, wow, the paparazzi just seems to find Kyle wherever she goes, And even recently she was walking and the paparazzi was there and she like flipped him off. Do they call them? What is the goal of this? And then she says, Kyle goes, when she doesn't ask about Morgan, doesn't say, yeah, we are just friends. We are just friends. And I had fun with it. And I am not a lesbian. She never said that on the last reunion. She goes, maybe Morgan will be sitting next to me next reunion. She also said, I had to have this really hard conversation with my children about my sexuality because of what was being said out in the public. Again, she never said to the girls, look, I'm exploring my sexuality. She just said, I know you've seen some things about my sexual, like she's never said it. And I am just as frustrated with Garcelle. Like, you're right. It shouldn't matter. But what was all of this? Or did you just have a crush on her and it never resulted in anything but a strong friendship? I don't know, but it is annoying. And I would have thought last year when she goes, who knows, maybe Morgan will be sitting next to me, we would have known by now. So now I have my new theory, okay, because I've had so many theories. I don't think their marriage was ever that great by standard practices. Every marriage is different. Some people have an open marriage. Some people don't care that their husband has side pieces because they treat him so well and it really doesn't matter. Some people have threesomes with a girl and it doesn't matter. Maybe that was their deal. I don't know. But all those rumors going back to Mauricio being with people that they talked about like in tabloids, and there was rumors from a long time ago of a housewife walking to a restaurant like 10 years ago and seeing Mauricio very cuddly with a woman. So there were always those stories that he was kind of seen out. There was a story of a girl that like spent the night with him in Canada when he was there for some reason at a nightclub, and there were all those kind of things. But on camera, you know, he never snapped at her. He was always happy. He was always happy to film Mauricio. And even though she never called him Mo in the beginning, it was always Mauricio, but now it's Mo and everything. So anyway, they seemed like one of the best couples, and I understand why also she wanted to keep that going, because it is an accomplishment to stay married that long in Hollywood. It is an accomplishment to stay married that long when you're a real housewife. Both of those things are huge, and coming from a family of divorce as she did, maybe she for decades just put it aside. And of course we had the great scene from way back when, which was like first season, where Camille's friend was like doing that e-cigarette before they were e-cigarettes, before there were vapes anyway, saying that your husband will never emotionally fulfill you, Kyle. There's somebody else. And Kyle was like, and that was when Kyle had like, you know, her old teeth and her old nose. She still looked really good. I just watched that episode. Anyway, It is intriguing to watch. Some people think this season is boring. I do not. I think analyzing other people's marriages is a sport, and I like it. And so I feel that Kyle, put it out there, wanted to make him jealous, did something with Morgan or not, but I don't think there's anything going on with them really now. And it's almost like the fake cancer with Brooks. Now she kind of doesn't. Oh my God, this is just coming to me now. Now I think Kyle just doesn't know what to say. Like, no, there was nothing. We were just platonic friends. There was never anything between Morgan Wade and I. And we had fun with it. We had fun with the media. And I wanted to have something. I wanted to just have something that was intriguing and interesting while we were separated. But Garcelle was on Watch Problems Live last night, and she's like, I don't see how they can come back together when he has been out with many different women, but it sounds like there's been one particular for a while now. And I've always said, if it becomes serious, if the girl moves in, if the girl gets pregnant, then they will have to get divorced. And I don't, I think he's like, why? I mean, a lot of men, I remember this divorce attorney said this. I've said this a few times. Out of all the divorces that she worked on in 30 years, only like 3 out of like 200 was a man filing for divorce first if he didn't already have a girlfriend. They will just go along with whatever. They'll screw around on the side or just be, you know, with a miserable bitch. They don't initiate the divorces. The women do. The women don't have to have someone. They just cannot take it anymore. And they're like, get me out of here. And they're usually the ones that initiate it without any cheating going on. So, very interesting. Okay. Then we have Sutton, and Jennifer Tilly is there. And I've been working on my Jennifer Tilly impression. And she goes, Sutton! Sutton is here. Hi, Sutton. Hi, Sutton. And, you know, she's Sutton's friend. And she's pretty delightful. And so Dorit goes to say, I don't want to go in the outdoor shower that Bose offered me at the resort at the St. Lucia Hotel, because I don't even really like walking around naked with my husband. And Dorit's like, no, I actually don't even like walking around naked with, you know, with my husband PK when we were together. And Bose is like, what? What kind of intimacy relationship? And then Jennifer says, well, I understand because I had a boyfriend and I would just turn off the lights and get into bed. And we had a great sex life. But then I did a play on Broadway and I had to stand up in a bathtub and do full frontal nudity. So I told him, oh, I'm not nude in it. I have strategically placed bubbles. Well, I stood up and afterwards he came in and he said, something happened. All your bubbles went away. And I realized, well, he had never, ever seen me just standing naked. So it was quite shocking. Do you remember when I told you that story, Sutton? So anyway, she is a good time and she's nice to everybody and she's rich. So Dorit and Sutton are just not getting into it, and she apologizes. Sutton goes, well, I am sorry, Dorit, that I said that my wallet is bigger than yours and you should pick on somebody with a tiny broke bankruptcy wallet, and I'm not one of them. I am sorry that I said that. And then Dorit goes, okay, well, I don't believe you, and maybe if you spoke English. And then Sutton's like, do I need to do it in an English accent? Then I will. And everyone's like, oh my God. So Sutton gets up. She's like crying. They're on the yacht. And that's about it. That's about where we are at. Erica is coming off so great and normal and such a girl's girl. And she says to Sutton, look, you are not good to women in this group. No, she didn't say in the scriptures, you don't really support women when they're really down. You didn't support me when I was down. You kept bringing up the lawsuits and everything else with my weird husband. And you weren't good to Kyle when she was, hadn't announced her separation, but she was about to last year, going through it with Mauricio. And you're awful to Dorit this year, who is separated and probably going to get divorced from PK. And then she's like, name them what all women on the earth you think I'm bad to. And Erica's like, no, Sutton, I'm talking about the women in this group. Well, you didn't say this group. Well, I mean this group. Well, you didn't say it. I was like, oh, shut up. So I am loving Erica and Garcelle. I think they're the voices of reason. And there we are with that show. The Baldwins on TLC. We've talked a little bit about it. And, Hilaria, is just going forward and just saying, the fact that I learned 2 languages growing up, I had 2 cultures. She just goes, yeah, it was a code something. I was code directing, meaning when I'm around people that are of a certain culture, I pick it up. And when I'm around other people of a certain culture, I pick that up. And I just do that. And now my family lives in Spain. Well, her family bought a vacation home in Spain and then retired there. We all know that. And she's trying to act like it's not a big deal. But she made the world believe, and including Alec. Alec was at talk shows saying, well, my wife is from Spain, and then would do the Spanish accent, and everyone would in the audience of the Tonight Show would laugh. And like I said, I don't think he ever asked her where she went to high school or college. She says they got married very soon after meeting. I think she knew that he liked this vegan restaurant because he was pursuing the owner of the vegan restaurant. At the time, he was super into Selma Hayek, who was guesting on 30 Rock. So I think she knew that he was there and set herself in a place for him to meet her and won his heart because she is attractive and sweet. And then, they went on to have all these kids. And one of them, I know it was a surrogate. So there's 2 that are 3 months apart. She was having a child through a surrogate, their biological child, and then got pregnant naturally on her own. So there's and there's just so many kids. And so, some people are just saying he comes off so much nicer. And the fact that he is doing this on TLC, the person who hated the paparazzi when he first came home with Ireland, his child with Kim Basinger, the paparazzi followed him because they lived in Woodland Hills where we lived. And he went out and put shaving cream on the window. He's gotten in fights with Paps over the years. But now they need the money. So he's cameras come into the house. Anyway, so they're on the red carpet because there's a new Planet Hollywood. That place is coming back. And they're getting asked about the show. And he's like, well, sometimes I think it's kind of boring. So sometimes I try to, play it up and be a little silly. And she's like, and that's when we cut. That's right. We cut. He's so boring. And he goes, well, I think what's interesting is Hilaria. When I'm talking, you do not talk. Okay? Nobody wants to hear you talk when I'm talking. See what I mean? See how annoying? I mean, he's like, okay. Oh my God. This interview is amazing. I I think if you like this kind of stuff and you really want to see their weird dynamic, I don't know if she's like, she like kind of eye fucks the camera and stuff when he's like complaining. She's like, but I've only seen clips of the show. I don't know if I can sit through the kids like screaming and jumping in the pool, but I do like analyzing these moments on the red carpet because every couple has that whole thing where it's like, can I finish? Can I finish? Will you let me finish a sentence? And we saw it with Erica and when Erica tried to like chime in that first season on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Tom Girardi is like, Erica, let me finish. But it's the opposite, which I think people are even more disturbed by, that she's just like, Alec, when Alec's on camera, we cut, like she's in the editing room. Here's this guy who's done 62 films. Like, how annoying is that? And he's just like, yeah, but you switch accents and it's annoying too. Like now he's just saying it. They are just like not holding back. And I find that pretty juicy. This episode of Juicy Scoop is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. So every time I use Booking.com to find a place in the U.S., I know that they will have exactly what I'm looking for. They have a huge variety of options from hotels to vacation rentals, and I'm always able to find something that fits my specific needs. I found that Booking.com has something for everyone. So right now I am planning a sorority sister get-together girls weekend, and we've got girls coming from all parts of the country, and we want a lot of foodie places. We want to walk to the cute coffee shop. We want a spa, and I found that on Booking.com. It makes it so easy. Everyone's so excited to go on this trip, and of course, it's just the best. No matter who you are, Booking.com helps you find the stay that's ridiculously right for you. Find exactly what you're booking for on Booking.com, Booking.yeah. I know you guys love my dog, Raven. She really is the cutest. And now she's even happier because she is loving Spot and Tango dog food. After trying many foods, Raven was a little skeptical. But since switching, nothing has made a difference like Spot and Tango. Spot and Tango is a personalized dog food subscription that delivers high-quality, ready-to-serve meals, snacks, and supplements right to your door, so no more last-minute pet store runs. I used to hate feeding Raven just the mystery kibble filled with processed meals and fillers because I knew that she was better than that. And now I feel great because with Spot and Tango, I finally know exactly what is in her bowl. Fresh human-grade ingredients like high-quality protein and veggies, no fillers, no junk, just real food for dogs. She absolutely loves it. There's really a pep in her 4 little steps. I'm so happy. I feel so much better feeding her Spot and Tango. And right now, Spot and Tango is offering an exclusive deal for our Juicy Scoopers. For a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/juicyscoop and use code JuicyScoop to get 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/juicyscoop, code JuicyScoop to get 50% off your first order. Spotandtango.com/juicyscoop, code JuicyScoop. This episode of Juicy Scoop is sponsored by ZocDoc. When was the last time you need to go to a doctor, but you brushed it off? You're like, oh, I'm too busy. Oh, it'll heal on its own. I don't need help. But also, I don't know which doctor to go to. Well, I think we've all been there. Booking a doctor appointment can just feel daunting. But thanks to ZocDoc, there's no reason to delay. They make it so easy to find and book a doctor who's right for you. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. Once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. How easy is that? One of my favorite things about it is that appointments can be made through ZocDoc, which happens so fast. They are typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score a same-day appointment. Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/juicy and find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/juicy. ZocDoc.com/juicy. Speaking of a girl who who may have stalked her husband. So, on TikTok, now I've seen this for a while, about how Hailey Bieber, who is niece to Alec Baldwin, okay, her dad, Stephen Baldwin, who was also an actor. There were 4 Baldwin brothers when I was growing up that were the hot Baldwin brothers. And Stephen was probably the most successful after Alec. And so she is his daughter, and he and his wife are very Christian. And so this person called 7-part series on TikTok put together a 7-part series of incredible footage of when Justin Bieber was dating Selena Gomez, and you can see Hailey Baldwin before her glow up, before her nose job, a young girl being in the background at red carpets, and then the first time they meet, you know, he's very young and she's like 13 or 11, and Steven's like, this is my daughter. And now they're Hollywood families, so yes, would she be able to go to the Selena Gomez movie and she was a fan? Yes, the fact that she went to some of this stuff and met him isn't crazy. Then there's this girl that comes on who says, I used to run a 200-person Facebook fan group for Justin Bieber. And Hailey was part of it. And we would communicate. Now, this is just her saying allegedly. And as Hailey was like a teenager or whatever, I would know where Justin was staying. And then she would also stay there or eat at the restaurant, constantly putting herself in a place to meet Justin Bieber, which is very similar to the alleged story about how Hilary met Alec. So kind of crazy. Maybe they really have a lot in common. So that's all interesting. Then, you know, they eventually meet and fall in love, and they get married, and then there's all this stuff that she would do, still sort of obsessed with Selena Gomez, the same tattoo behind her ear of a J, similar outfits where similar things that she would say in her social media. At one point, Selena had started a YouTube cooking show, and she did too, which is fine, but she would say the exact same things. She would set up posts and videos that were exactly like Selena's. And this has been talked about for a long time. It just has never been put together to such an extent as this, down to when Justin's on a talk show and he's like, well, basically it was an arranged marriage. Like, I met Hailey and our pastor just said we should get married. And next thing I knew, we were like getting married. And it's very interesting. And one of the things when she was looking for Justin is she, according to this girl who ran the big Facebook group, she's like, Kylie and I are going to want to go to that restaurant. And they were really good friends. You know, they were very good friends. I met Hailey Baldwin one day when we were out in New York, and she was with Kendall and Kylie, and they were doing this fashion show where Kendall and Kylie were wearing red dresses for like the Heart Association or whatever. So that was all true. And they all like met and were friends. And, you know, Justin's at one time manager, bodyguard, whatever, is Corey, who's now been with Kris Jenner for 15 years. So they all met and everything, and they all like support her. And then so one of the things, like, she started a makeup line, and after Selena did, and the ads are the same and the outfits are the same, and all of that is really crazy. And I think it's such an interesting way of like copying in 2025 that didn't really exist before social media, but it's happening so much. And it's because it's kind of the wild, wild west, and there's really no way to prove it. And I feel like authorities and even fans are not like super furious. Like I've said, nobody cares that someone steals your joke. No one cares that Mel Robbins took the let them idea from Cassie Phillips and ran with it. Nobody seems to care. And I just saw that Cassie Phillips, who came up with a poem in 2022 called Let Them, in which that's what sparked the tattoos. She had a tattoo because it was her poem, and someone came up to her and was like, oh, are you a fan of Mel Robbins too? And she just has to be like, no, but Heather McDowell is the only one that's talking about it. So let them, you know? If somebody doesn't want to invite you to a brunch, let them. If someone doesn't like your gift, take it back. Let them. Let them. You can go return it. You can give it to somebody else. Let them. If I want to take an idea from someone else and make it $100 million business, let me, because nobody else is talking about it and nobody cares. So if you're not going to do it, I am. Anyway, I find it fascinating. Kate Casey, my friend Kate Casey, she'll be on next week. Her show, her podcast, she interviewed this woman who was an influencer, not a huge influencer, but a travel influencer with her husband for many years and could like do travel blogs and stuff. And she found out 5 years back, like it had been going on for 5 years, she found this girl that lived in her neighborhood that had been copying every single one of her posts, like would make her boyfriend pose with LaCroix the exact same way that this girl and her husband were posing with LaCroix. And she'd have her friend like holding up enchilada day, and then like all of a sudden the same day or the day after, the girl would be like enchilada day. It's so insane. And then she went on to do it to other people. And I just find she started then copying other influencers doing that same thing. She even took some influencer's baby name. It is crazy. And it was kind of interesting about on my last episode with when we talked about Clayton from The Bachelor and how this woman had several victims in which she said, oh, I'm having your baby when she wasn't. And I don't know. Because now, along with this 7-part series, they are saying some people are drawing conclusions that Hailey Bieber might be doing this to Sabrina Carpenter and copying her posts and her looks and everything else. Well, today, TMZ, because this has really made a big viral moment in TikTok for the last couple days or weekend. Now they're saying Hailey Bieber is exploring legal options against online haters. I don't know how you could do that. I mean, all the stuff that I've seen are interviews. They're your social posts. You have millions and millions of followers. Your husband is and there's a lot been going on with the two of them. But they were just at Disneyland a couple days ago, seeming to have a great time. They did have a baby, but he has not been looking well. But he's also aged. So, like, I don't know. And I don't know if he's partaking in prescription or non-prescription drugs or alcohol. I don't know. But he doesn't look great when we've seen him. And then also in that video are times where he's like literally running away from her, getting out of the car before she could even get out and like slamming the door, like forgetting that she was even sitting next to him. There's so much. And so I don't know what she could do, but this is, probably just a rumor. Meghan Markle, also cut from the same cloth of Hilaria and Hailey Bieber. So she made green waffles for her kids on St. Patrick's Day. And I just thought this was funny. And people came after her and said when she showed herself pouring into the waffle maker for the kids, and then when she showed the final kid waffle, it was different grooves in the waffle. And so they're like, she's lying. She never really made them green waffles, or she used footage from somebody else or whatever. And then people went deeper and were like, no, it appears she had 2 different waffle makers. One maybe for the adult green waffles and one for the kid. Whatever. I think, what I think is weird is that on, what day was it? Saturday, I posted a waffle that I made for my children. So yeah, I think Meghan Markle is copying me. No, of course I don't. But, it's all fun, whatever. Okay, let's talk about White Lotus. I want to talk a little bit about White Lotus. If you're not watching it, it's okay. But I want to tell you some stuff of why people are talking about it. So if you want to skip forward, whatever. This is the 3rd season. They're in Thailand. And I feel like it's gotten off on a really slow start, but I felt that way for Italy too. The only one that I really loved from the beginning was when they were in Maui. Well, now it's getting good. It's still confusing, which is what he does. It's like there's like these little like Easter eggs and stuff which make it fun. But the part I love is there's three girls that were like high school friends that are in their late 40s. And the way they like shit talk each other, like when one walks away and the two talk, I think that is really fun. And there's this one girl, and I had a friend like this too, that would say, she actually did this too. Okay, so there's this one girl while she was married, and my other friend was single, like maybe 10 years ago. She would start talking to some guy from like high school and be like, oh my God, I just connected with this person on Facebook. You should totally date him. You should totally date him. You two should date. And I was like, I think she's just doing this to get her flirt on. Like, obviously the guy's talking to her all the time. He's going to be like, well, I'd rather date you. Like, why you possibly, or like a friend that'd be like, oh, he's cute for you. So anyway, the girl who's like the hottest one, who's an actress, keeps telling her single friend, you should screw this guy that like works at the resort. You should screw him. And then they all party and everything, and everybody goes back to their rooms and no one's hooking up. And then the guy comes over. And of course, now the girl's hooking up with the guy the entire week that she was like to her single friend, you and he should. You should. He's so hot. You're the only single one. I'm not single. Now she's fucking the guy. So that I find super juicy. This guy. Okay, so then you probably heard about Parker Posey, who is playing she's from Mississippi, but she's playing a Southern character. Oh, I know people are gonna get crazy about the part of the South that she's from, but whatever. And so she's really fun. Just like we loved Molly Shannon in the previous ones, we've loved, of course, Jennifer Coolidge. Parker Posey is fabulous, and she plays this like pill-popping kind of rich Southern woman with 3 college-age kids, married to this guy. And so people were saying, and I think Kate was saying it, my friend Kate Casey, I think that this family is based off of the Ravenels of Southern Charm. And now one of the actresses on the show said yes, like that is, or Parker Posey said yes, that's who, I'm a huge Southern Charm fan. That's what we were like kind of making it after, or creating it. Anyway, so, a lot of people are loving her accent where she's like, Piper, no, tsunami. Oh, but where's my beta blocker? I don't know what is going on. And so she's just like out of it. And so anyway, there's one scene which I thought was really funny but graphic. There's a lot of frontal nudity that the dad is like, oh, like he's stressed about this thing that's going on at work that nobody knows about. And he sits down and he spreads his legs, and the 2 boys and the daughter see just his dick, okay? And it's kind of a funny moment because everyone knows whenever the few times in my life that I accidentally saw my dad's dick, it's just like, it's the worst. It is the worst. And you're like, oh God, Dad. So I thought that was like a funny moment for the show. So he's doing an interview with this like talk show in New York. And she asks about it. I guess it was a prosthetic, so it wasn't his penis. And he's like, would you ask a woman that? Would you ask a woman that? And she's like, yeah, I'm really straightforward. I'm really like unfiltered with my questions. He's like, well, I find offense to that. Anyway, I thought that's ridiculous. When everyone asked Sharon Stone about her scene in Basic Instinct, people always ask how women lose weight, what they're wearing, their sex scenes, like forever people of that. And now he's playing like, oh, double standard. Well, anyway, he has since been like, okay, I apologize. I guess I shouldn't have like made such a big deal out of that. So the other juicy stuff that's happening in this show is there was a hint that Patrick Schwarzenegger, Maria Shriver, and Arnold's son, who's in the show, who's playing one of Parker Posey's like Southern, rich kid. People thought there might be some incest hinting because the younger brother was kind of looking at him while he was changing in like a weird, lustful way. I was like, there's no way we are going to go there. And they did. The two brothers are about to hook up with these girls that are both with old guys. And so now it's getting good. Now people are getting partying, drunk. Now and there's like this weird kiss. And I was like, oh my God. Now I know in the gay world, there is according to gay porn, there is gay incest with like identical twins and stuff like that. That happens a lot with guys in that world. So I don't know. I've just never seen this like on regular TV. And then people are like, don't you watch Game of Thrones? And don't you, it's been from Roman time. Okay. But there's something weird about like when you see it in like a more of a mainstream media, you're like, is this a way for us to assume that this happens more often than we're aware of? We saw it hinted at in Ryan Murphy's portrayal of the Menendez brothers. Not hinted, like he presented it as possibly being the truth, even though that was fictionalized, that they had a romantic situation, incestual situation. I don't know. It's a theme I'm not down for, but I'm intrigued with the show. And then there's this amazing scene where this guy goes to visit like his old friend, and the friend gives this monologue that's so disturbing of how he loved screwing Asian girls for so long, for like till he had 1,000, that he decided he actually just wants to be an Asian woman. And you just have to watch. If you're interested, you have to watch it. But I'm telling you, if you haven't started to watch it, I kind of spoil it for you, but it is a little slow, but it is getting good. And I think there's still like 4 or 5 episodes. And I've seen people predicting, oh, I think this is going to happen. I think this is going to happen. What's the connection with these other former characters? I don't know, but it's like the only thing I'm really like watching. And I love that you can't binge it. And I love that we can like milk it out because there's so few of those things. So there you go. Speaking of Patrick, I am kind of like weirdly obsessed. And, I don't want to make the show political, but there is this weird thing happening with Jack Schlossenberg. Okay. He is, so John F. Kennedy, our president, okay, had 2 children, JFK Jr., who died in the plane crash with his wife, Carolyn, and Caroline Kennedy was his daughter. She married a guy named Schlossenberg and had a couple kids. And her son is named Jack. And he kind of has the JFK Jr., like, good hair. I don't know. He's gone. I'm sure he has a law degree or whatever. But he is so fucking weird on social media. People love him that follow him. He hates his uncle. Well, I guess it's not his uncle. It's his cousin. It would be his cousin. Yes, it would be his cousin, RFK. And he's just trolling all these people. But he's also like mean to Patrick, too. And Patrick Schwarzenegger is getting married. He's engaged to this model, and they just did like a Skims collab. And I just want to be like, who is going to this wedding? Is this guy going to go to the wedding? This cousin? Does he get to go? Because is RFK going to go? Like what? Because who is going to this wedding of Patrick's? Is the maid that was their childhood maid, and then Arnold had the baby with that housekeeper, and now Arnold hangs out with that son, and that son was on Dancing with the Stars. Will that kid go to the wedding? Will he be a groomsman? Like, we need Cheryl Hines going. Like, we need to know. So there's some juice there. Sabrina Carpenter. We just talked about Hailey Bieber possibly copying her. Anyway, she was on stage. I love all her music. I love her look. And she did a sexual choreographed move that TMZ said she simulated a 3-way sex act on stage during a Paris concert, where she has 2 guys and she's bent over, like one's doing her from behind and she's getting the other one in her mouth. And I just say, hey, you know what? That is something we haven't seen. I mean, Madonna used to like kiss the girls and make the guys kiss each other. And, you got to step it up. So I'm kind of surprised because I kind of thought Sabrina Carpenter was like bringing back kind of like a more classy, like pop girl world. But hey, we're talking about it. But I don't love it. I don't think she needs it. I like her just being like 1940s boopty bop in her outfits and her espresso songs. Speaking of having multiple partners, there's a new show on TLC called Poly Family. And I watched the trailer. And you guys, I think I'm going to have to watch this. I think I am going to have to watch this show. So what it is these two couples were married. They each had a kid or two. And then they got together and they call themselves a close quad poly family, meaning they only screw each other. And so the two men have their wives, and then the other wife is their girlfriend. From what I said in the trailer, the two girls don't get together and the two guys don't get together. It's just the girl gets together with her husband, and then she gets together with the other guy who is her friend's husband. And they all live together and they all parent the kids together. And there's two babies that the girls have had since they've formed this quad family. And they don't know who the dad is because they swap partners every night. But in the trailer, the girl starts to feel less confident in her own marriage, her first marriage, because she feels like, I feel like they might get along better. The two men are like, we actually wouldn't even be friends if we weren't screwing each other's wives. And then and then in the trailer, one of the girls goes, okay, I'm having feelings for somebody else. And they're like, you can't bring in a fifth. We're a close quad. I mean, I'm just saying. Every marriage is different, people. And I'm kind of excited for this. Speaking of another TLC show, I have never watched The 7 Little Johnstons, but couldn't sleep one night and somehow went down this rabbit hole of people that are sticking up for Anna Johnston. So this couple, they've had a show on for like 10 years. They had a couple, they're a little person couple. They had their own little people. And then they adopted like 3 other kids. And yeah, I don't know if it's 7 altogether and they have 5 kids or they adopted. I don't know because I haven't watched it. Now the kids are all grown and they're like in college or out of college or whatever. And this guy just started doing a TikTok being like, I can't take the abuse that they've put towards this one adopted girl who they got at 3 years old named Anna. And all these people jumped on it and they're like, she is the total scapegoat. They're so mean to her. They like crush her spirit all the time. She went to college and the mom was like, you're not going to that college alone. I'm going to the college too. And then the mom went to college and then she was like, I don't even want to walk in the ceremony with my mom. Like, I want something to myself. And they're like, oh, she's always the worst. She can't live on her own. And they just like constantly crush her. And so anyway, she got wind of this like movement of fans realizing that she has been like the scapegoat as one of the adopted kids. And even her own siblings, who she was kind of sweet to, have like turned against her. And so now she just posted a TikTok saying, point of view, you grow up on a reality TV show and get treated like the black sheep by loved ones for millions to see. So now she's just going for it. And now I kind of want to watch this show. And, but that's, I mean, TLC, you know, and this is the network Baldwin's joined. This is where Sister Wives are, 1,000-pound sisters. I don't know. Oh, also, it was TLC? No, it was Lifetime that had the JoJo Siwa Dance Moms. JoJo Siwa, our girl. It was the iHeart Radio Awards, whatever. And JoJo showed up, you know, in a really weird, strange headdress. And it's like she's got like a wig on that's like, it's like an art project. Like she basically took a piece of foam and then had someone wrap hair around it. And she probably like drew it in the middle of the night. And they asked her, wow, this is like an interesting like look. And she's like, well, you know, like I I had to top last year. So I was like, how do I top last year? You know, because last year was when she like went like Gene Simmons from Kiss. So some people are like, it's just so weird. Like, she's such a strange dork. I'm like, you know what? I like it. She's right. She had to top last year. We don't talk about her as much. It's just a weird way to. Otherwise, if she just showed up like in this jean outfit without anything strange on her head, would we be talking? No. Would I be talking about her? No. Would her photo go anywhere? No. It's not great. It's not, doesn't mean anything. It's like a little kind of Asian inspired, a lot of glitter. I don't know, you guys. I feel like she kind of peaked. I feel like she peaked last year. And do we care? Should I have her on Juicy Scoop? Should I ask her, do you think you peaked? How are you going to keep topping this stuff? But the Karma is a Bitch song, still a hit in my head. But I don't know if any of her other ones have like really made it. Okay. Real Housewives of Atlanta. There's a couple episodes out, and I find one thing really interesting about it. A lot of new girls. Portia is back, and Drew, who was on last year, is on it. And all of a sudden, Drew goes, well, you know, I'm going through divorce now, and I am working with Portia's ex-husband or ex-baby daddy. He's helping me with music. Even though this guy ran hot dog stands. He had like he made money. He had a lot of like restaurants selling hot dogs. And they're all like, I didn't know that you did music. And Drew's like, yeah, well, you know, he's really helping my career, really getting my music going. So it gets back to Portia. And they're sitting, and Portia's like, you're a low down, dirty piece of shit to Drew. And Drew's like, Portia, what are you talking about? And then Portia goes, wait, can I have a producer? Producer, hi, could I break the fourth wall for a sec? And you hear the producer go, yeah. And I mean, I just like get wet. I'm like, finally, what is going on in this show? And she goes, I know, Drew, that you texted my baby daddy saying, let's film together. I want you to film with me. So you wanted to create some type of weird storyline, and I'm not having it. And she's like, that's not true. That's not true. So then Portia goes out with Kenya, who is on the show. You know, they've had their issues, but now they're like OGs, and they're like, whatever, we're going to just do what we need to do to make our money, because they're both like, they both have little kids. So Portia goes, look, Portia's getting divorced, by the way, from this, like, I don't know where he's from, some other country, but he was real rich, and he was dating this other Atlanta housewife. No, married to another Atlanta housewife who was like kind of a friend of. She jumped on that. They fell in love. They got divorced. He married Portia. Portia's the fifth wife. And now Portia's divorcing him because she realizes that like he's basically like in financial ruins and I don't know, some crazy shit. Cars that weren't really his or green cards. I don't know. Sounds like a mess. So she's going through that. But she also has this baby daddy with her kid who's now going to whatever. And she says something. She says to Kenya, she goes, look, we kind of get along good for co-parenting, but sometimes we don't. And so what I don't want is him going on the show and some created shit by Drew happening that's going to cause my family with my daughter and my baby daddy and our situation co-parenting. It's going to throw a wrench in it. And I'm not fucking having it. So I called it out. And I thought that was like real juicy. And yeah, she's right. She's like, no. She found out about it and she's like, no. Dennis, you don't need to be on this show. Whatever this fake music thing is or not. But I'm calling it out that because they've tried to make it sound like clearly, or Drew was putting in the seeds that like maybe she was dating. Oh, his name's Dennis. Maybe she was dating Dennis, Portia's ex. Like they went to she had a birthday party, but it was a surprise birthday party. And therefore she like didn't invite Portia. And then Portia was like, no, you guys aren't fucking. Nothing's going on, but you're trying to make a storyline out of it to fuck with me and my family. And it will, because the fans will get involved and all that. And I'm not doing it because I'm not screwing up anything that could affect my daughter for this stupid reality show. And I loved that. Okay. Then so then all of a sudden, I see this. Congrats, Drew Sidora, that same girl we're talking about, on your new box truck. And I'm like, what is this? So she now owns a box truck that you could like rent from her or something. It's so bizarre. And they also said that Black China's mom, is doing that too. And I just thought that is like such a weird, is that something people are doing? Like, is that like buying storage units, which is actually a really good business, or vending machines or laundromats? Like, is the new thing like buy a fleet of box trucks and then like rent them out to people? I don't know. But obviously, being just an actress or reality star on Bravo never pays enough. Speaking of which, Farrah Abraham is starting her stand-up comedy career, which I'm like, go for it. You know what? A lot of people have that are reality star. Joe Gorga did it. Shep has done it. Reza has done it. Whatever. Sonya's doing it. If you can get people to go and pay tickets to see you, whatever. But I just was looking at her in this interview, and she looks so much like Kim Kardashian. It is crazy how it's hard to tell who anybody is anymore. And that's why there's this actress, English actress in White Lotus, who has like what you would call bunny teeth. And she's really cute and she's split between her teeth. You never got the teeth fixed. And it's really kind of made her career. It made her stand out. There's a vulnerability and a likability about her that I think if she had the perfect teeth, maybe she wouldn't be cast in this. Mike White like loves a different person. She stands out. And I don't know. I just think if you really want to pursue acting, maybe you don't just try to look like everybody else. But whatever. That's Farrah Abraham. She's been, this is her look. And and then she goes, oh, I'm an empty nester, so now I could have time to do everything. My daughter's 16. Well, that's not being an empty nester, but whatever. I mean, Heather Dubrow and Terry Dubrow of Real House of OC said, we're selling our house in Beverly Hills now because we're empty nesters. And their youngest child, Ace, is in the 9th grade. So I'm like, I don't think you're done yet, but whatever. So speaking of which, Denise Richard's show, I saw that after Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You can watch it on Bravo and Peacock. And it really is pretty great and pretty juicy. And I did not know that Brooke, who is Charlie Sheen's wife after Denise, whom he had twins with, and the twins are now like 17 boys. They are boys. She is featured in the show. Years ago, I was fascinated because he and Brooke had, this tumultuous divorce, and these two little twins were caught in the middle. And Brooke has been to, and I'm not exaggerating looking up, I think she's been to rehab over the last 17 years, like 21 times. And at one point when the boys were little, Denise said, I'll take them because Charlie couldn't take them and Brooke was in rehab. And when I interviewed Denise, I was like, you really are Saint Denise. Like, who takes in your husband's kid? She's like, but I'm like, she's like, well, that's what I do. Like, I just take in these animals. I took in these kids. She adopted her daughter who has special needs, which they feature her and what's working for her, which I think is really cool that we see that. And then so I didn't know what happened to those boys, but Brooke is now featured on the show. I think she's just throwing her like a lifeline, like, hey, come on, it's interesting, and we'll pay you a day rate or whatever. And then also one of the boys of Charlie's showed up, and they had this like funeral for this iguana or a lizard or whatever who lived till he was 30. And we've seen this. I think Tom Schwartz on Vanderpump had like a lizard funeral. We've seen the dog funerals and all that, but this actually was like actually made me laugh and was actually really funny, and just the weirdness of like, and just the honesty of Denise, and then this Brooke. I mean, many years ago, I had a dinner with Brooke, her mom, Jill Zarin, Patty Stanger, and Adrienne Maloof before Real Housewives of Beverly Hills started, and Jill said, this woman, Adrienne, is going to be on the new Beverly Hills Housewives. And then I was like, Adrienne, did you used to live in this building on Wilshire? And I realized that like I'd hung out with her. It was just crazy. And of course I was obsessed with Brooke. And at that time, she'd already been to rehab once, was already going through a divorce with Charlie, but was like, you know, at the dinner with her mom and somewhat sober. So then Brooke was on a show with Kathy Hilton and Paris Hilton, where they acted like Brooke was Kathy Hilton's best friend or something. It was so strange. And the whole time it was like Paris and Kathy were just going to help fucked up Brooke and find her a boyfriend and help her date. And I was like, how did this connection happen? Like, so all these like reality people and all these, like everyone is so intertwined. It's really crazy when you think about how it all like comes together. But this show is pretty entertaining, and in it, the daughter who does OnlyFans, she gets a nose job and actually looks really beautiful now. She was beautiful before, but the nose job is good. I'm sorry, it's good. And so who knows? I just said she shouldn't change her look, but actually, I think for OnlyFans and everything, she just didn't like her nose looking like Charlie's, and now it looks like Denise. And then there's this other daughter who's like a super Christian, who's so sweet. And the dynamic between the two sisters and how like she's just genuine. This show's a hit. Okay, speaking of weird couples, so the Bill Belichick and his 22-year-old girlfriend, she posted a photo of her, like, you know, when you would like lift your kid up or whatever on your feet. So, I mean, pretty fit that he's like laying down, and her body looks good. She was like a cheerleader or something. And, you know, people are always like obsessed with this relationship because it's not just a May December. It's not just 20 years. It's like 40 years. Or is it 50? Yeah, he's like 73 and she's like 23. So it's like a 50-year age difference. And like one of the funniest jokes I saw is that someone asked Tom Brady, they're like, would you rent a car for your former coach's girlfriend? And it like took everyone like a second to go, oh, that's right. She's not 25 yet. She can't rent a car. It's so funny. Anyway, so I was like, well, okay, you know. And then I saw that Justin Theroux, the actor who was at one time married to Jen Aniston, who I always wonder, was that a real marriage? It seemed like that divorce was pretty seamless and pretty amicable, which makes me wonder if they were ever really married. But they were a real couple. I remember meeting them both in my Chelsea Lately days, and they're both like delightful. And he was a couple years younger than she. And now he is marrying his fiance, now wife. She is 30 and he is 53. And I was just like, ugh. I don't know. Like I'm sure Jennifer Aniston has a great attitude about it. I'm sure she's like, no, I am great. I am good. Justin and I, you know, we are friends, and to each his own. You know, I always had a real young spirit about him, and she is lovely, and I've only met her once on a dog walk. And, but you know what? If we're ever hanging out, I can have margaritas. I don't care. You know what? No, do I want to hang out with Brad Pitt's ex, Angelina? No, I don't. But you know what, Justin? Oh, we are good. Congrats. Maybe he'll be a daddy. So there you go. Kind of interesting. Mariah Carey is a lot of videos of her performing at Las Vegas residency. I saw her show years ago at Caesars, and I thought it was great. And I didn't care that they like lifted her up and they roll her out in a wheelchair so she can change her outfits and doesn't have to be like walking around in her shoes. She still walked around and like waved at me and stuff like that. But this is like the lack of effort. I mean, she's just in these like corset outfits and she's barely moving. I think she's definitely singing, but I mean, not moving at all. And then the dancers are just like spinning around her, and it's pretty funny. Like she'll be like, I'll always be. No, it's not even this. It's just like, it'll just be like, I'll always be your baby. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Like barely moving a shoulder, not even walking across the stage. And I'm like, at what point, why don't you just like change your outfit? Like, we are all getting older. And, you know, being in like platform stiletto heels just isn't working for you anymore every night. So either get a cobbler out there to make you some special orthopedic shoes that like have some great soles in them or something that you. I love these INEZ shoes. Okay, they're called Inez, and I have them and I love them, and they're platform and they are made in Spain and they are more comfortable, and I can wear those on stage. But if I have to do like 2 shows in a night, I have gone into like the cute tennis shoe mode. I don't know, Mariah. It's time that maybe you. Like, if your feet didn't hurt and if you do not have to walk around in these shoes, could you be more excited to be on stage? Could you give a little bit better of a performance? It's time you change the footwear. All right, you guys. I want to tell you about one more thing. I'm going to do, for those of you who are part of my Patreon, Juicy Crimes, I have done a ton of research on this crime that happened in my own backyard in Woodland Hills. And it is one of my favorite kinds of juicy crimes. Not that anyone died, but just the concept of it. It is a woman who is on trial for killing her husband of 20 years, helping, being the facilitator of the crime with her lover who did the crime. It is currently on trial. It happened in Woodland Hills. And I have inside scoop on it. I have all the details. I am listening to the trial, and I'm going to cover that on Juicy Crimes this weekend. And you can join that at heathermcdonald.net and join that. And I'm going to cover that and probably cover it again later. But this has so many layers, and I'm like shocked, and I'm finding more and more out. I'm going so deep. So that's that. Of course, I'll also do my Get Me Behind Gates and my regular Friday show. So go join my Patreon. And I'm also going to Augusta. Yes, I am going to the Masters. If you're familiar with that, that is where Sutton was from. And you got to see her go to a restaurant that's on my list to go to. And we met the mom and everything in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Sutton was from Augusta. So, anyway, I'm putting it out there because we have never been, Peter and I, and we are invited because a former winner of the Masters, his wife is now a friend of mine. She's a juicy scooper. So I'm wondering, what do we do? Do you live there? Can you help us get into a restaurant? I don't know how crowded it's going to be. I don't know what to expect, but I would love to hang out with some juicy scoopers if you're going to be there. And if you are, then you can just DM me or just email me at therealheathermcdonald@gmail.com. And I'm getting my green outfits together. And yeah, so it'll be interesting. Something I've never done before. So let's see what it's all about. All right, you guys, thank you so much. And don't forget to go to heathermcdonald.net and check out my Patreon because it's so worth it. And thank you. I have great shows next week and love you. Bye.